When it comes to the provision of affordable housing, there are a few different types of affordable housing that governments can help provide. Public housing is housing that is owned and operated by the state, like here at Barrack Beacon Estate in Port Melbourne. Community housing is housing provided by not-for-profit community organisations to people on the community housing waiting list. Social housing is an umbrella term that combines both public and community housing. One of the issues, however, is that when the Victorian government is describing social housing, what they're actually talking about is community housing, because they have no plans to build any more public housing. In fact, they're earmarking sites like Barrack Beacon Estate that we're here at today to help stop demolition happening. They're earmarking public housing sites for demolition and redevelopment into some community housing, but the majority of this site is going to be earmarked for private developers for private housing. In the midst of a housing affordability crisis, when there are over 120,000 people on the waiting list for public housing, on any given night over 30,000 people in Victoria are experiencing homelessness, the government shouldn't be siphoning off the majority of our public housing land to give away to developers for private housing. It should be keeping that land so we can build tens of thousands more public homes, because that's the way we can address the housing affordability crisis in Victoria. So we're at Barrack Beacon Estate here to rally about what's happening and what the government is planning for this site. The government wants to demolish the public housing that we have on the land. They want to privatise the estate, where some of it will be used for community housing, but the majority of the land will be set aside for private developers for private housing. In the midst of a housing affordability crisis, we cannot give away public housing land to private developers for private housing when we need that land to build tens of thousands more public homes.
And the tenants don't want to move from here. Some of them have been here for decades.
This has been home to people for more than 2 decades, and we've got residents who see this as their home. They've built community connections. They don't want to leave. They welcome refurbishment and redevelopment of the site if it means more public housing on the site. In fact, they've taken me around to places they said, here's a great place for more public housing. But they know what the government's doing. They know the government is handing over their home to private developers for private development in the midst of a housing affordability crisis.